Hello everybody, welcome back to Throttle Grotto, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use a VOLVO 2-speed fan controller found in a lot of Volvos in the junkyard to run a 2-speed fan in basically whatever project you're working on. Stay tuned. Alright everyone, so today I'm actually working on the 928. I'm using this as an example because it's the shark closest to the boat. Wait, they call these sharks. Never mind. It's the car that has the most immediate problem and needed help in the shop. So I took this out for a drive the other day, got back, was shuffling stuff around in the garage, and it started to overheat in the alley, which only took about a couple of minutes with a big V8 underneath the hood. So what I've done here is I've put in the VOLVO 2-speed fan controller. So I've already had the Taurus 2-speed fan in here. Got it out of a junkyard. It might have been out of a Contour. But actually, this pulls a lot of CFMs. They're super cheap at the junkyard. And I was able to trim it up to fit inside the shroud. And then I have down here in the radiator, I have a 2-speed fan switch. This stuff is super easy to wire up and make work in just about anything. So let me show you guys how easy it is. Okay, you're gonna have to pardon me while I basically make a nice clean work surface here I know this is pathetic. It's terrible, it's pathetic. All right, now that I've got a nice clean, fresh workbench to work off of. So you'll have to pardon me for not having some of the accessories for this. I've used them on the car, but what we have here is we have the VOLVO 2-speed fan controller, and you can find these new for about 35 bucks, 40 bucks. The pigtails will be the kind of the key, because as you can see here, they have larger spades, and then these are like a round connector for each one of these. So it is blindingly simple to wire up. So you have your 30, which is your power in, which is this terminal here. My thumb is hitting. You have your input from the switch. So you have 1-speed, 2-speed, and those are coming from the fan switch. And then you have your out, and these are your outputs to the fan. So low speed is 1, high speed is 2. You can make a bracket. I made one out of just a piece of sheet metal. Basically, like there's little clips on the back here. I think they clip to the inside of the fan shroud or something like that. But yeah, I just made a little sheet metal bracket that this slides into. And then on your fan, you have, I don't know if you'd be able to see it. I can barely see it in here myself. So you'll have a plus 1 and 2 terminals. So your plus is going to be your ground. And then 1 and 2 come from your input. So your input is 1 and 2 here. And those get wired right to your 1 and 2 on your switch. And it depends, like you can use different switches. As long as it has 2-speed control, you could use like, this is from like a 92 Jetta, but you could use like a BMW switch. Whatever radiator you're working with is kind of going to determine what switch you're going to have. This particular switch didn't work. I had to swap that out as well. And then once you have all that wired up, you'll have a wire that comes from the fan. That's your ground. So you'll ground the fan on the 3rd wire from the fan motor itself. And that's really it. You'll have a ground wire that goes from the switch to ground and the fan to ground. And then that's it. That is the complete circuit. So what happens is once the switch closes, it hits a certain temperature, your ground wire to 1st-speed fan control turns on. Now these both have power. So your switches to the ground, and then you can, like, it'll start the 1-speed fan. If it gets hotter, it hits the second temperature range, it'll start the 2-speed fan. And then the fan controller knows what's happening. So yes, you will have power to both of those, but the fan controller is designed to work that way. So it'll be okay. The other thing I would suggest is if you're going to go from your 30, your power in, use like a resettable circuit breaker or a fuse on this wire between here and your battery. You can also run a relay to switch power to this if you want to have switched key on power and off, so your fan doesn't run after you shut the car off. I generally would rather have the car run until the fan has cooled off the car enough to shut itself off. And that's really it. That is all there is to this. Yeah, I made sure that I made a note on there that it was dead. But yes, there's tons of these cars that have this super easy solution to a 2-speed cooling fan. Well documented on the internet. If you want additional wiring diagrams, there's a ton of them out there on how you can wire in a relay in addition to this. It's really, these are really great. And if you see them at the junkyard, you know, like pick one up, but I'm going to order a brand new one to have as a backup for the 928, just in case that, because the relay that I had there for example purposes didn't exactly stand the test of time. Now you can see the bracket I made. It's just basically a piece of sheet metal that bolts to the firewall there, and I have a little provision there for a relay as well if I want to use a relay on something in the future. And yeah, it just slides in and then the zip tie retains it. So super simple. And then again, down there we have our 3 wires to the fan switch. And over here, which is still janky, I still got to fix this. But then you can see they have the 3 wires that go to the fan. So black, green, and red. And those get hooked to, the black is obviously the ground. And then we have green is low speed, red is high speed. So that's it. I tested it out yesterday. It actually works really well. The car did not overheat. And I didn't even need to get it into the second stage of the fan. But it's there if I need it. So if I need to have a lot of cooling power, I've got the second speed on the fan that'll actually pull a lot of CFMs through this radiator. I'll have to look up and see what the CFMs on that Contour / Taurus fan is, but it's high. It's a good fan. If you can find one at their junkyard in good shape, it's definitely a good cheap way to keep your project car cool. So hopefully this helps you guys save a little money on your projects and solve some problems, which is part of the reason I'm here. So that's all I have for this time. Until next time, get out there and work on something.